I'll be talking about 5 tools that most people use for vibe coding. I have tried at least 10 such tools and created some apps. At the beginning, I was creating some random apps, but later on, I started using these vibe coding tools for creating some personal apps as well. So in this video, I want to show you 5 tools that you can use for vibe coding. Number 1 on the list is Lovable.dev. Lovable.dev is an AI tool where you can enter a prompt and get an app or a website. All you have to do is go ahead and enter the prompt in their input box, click on enter, and then you get the output. I have personally created many apps using Lovable, and one of the things that I like about Lovable, it is the UI output that you get. They tend to have a more beautiful looking website or an app which you may not see in other vibe coding apps. Now I use Lovable whenever I have to do some rapid prototyping or build an app for my personal use case. Let me show you an example of how I recently created an order management dashboard using Lovable. So as you can see on the screen, I've got a prompt here which I had entered, and so based on this prompt, Lovable gave me the output which you see on the right hand side. If you see, the output is actually a full-fledged dashboard. I had given some simple prompt, but it managed to give me an output which has got more components that I had asked for. Once you've got the first output, you can actually do some follow-ups to it or some edits to it. Suppose you want to edit something visually that you see on the right hand side, you can click on this edit button. Automatically the output on the right hand side becomes editable, and it's a visual editor, which means you can go to a certain element and simply go ahead and edit. So in this example, I'm making a change to the text and I'm just saying for candles. Once you're done with the changes, you can click on save, and that output gets saved. You can also share this project or you can publish it as well. On Lovable, you can click on the publish button, and as you see, there are multiple options there. If you want, you can go ahead and publish this as well. Lovable.dev is free to use, but it has some limits. Every day you get about 5 credits, and then you can have about 30 per month. Second on the list is Vercel's V0. V0 is also an AI tool where you enter a prompt and you get an app. On their homepage, you can go ahead and straight away enter the prompt that you want. So I want to show you an example which I had tried earlier with Vercel, and it is the same example that I used for Lovable. So I enter the prompt here, and in the left hand side, you can see my prompt, create an order management dashboard for e-commerce website. And on the right hand side, you can see the output. Now there is some difference in the output that you get in Vercel versus other tools. In Vercel, the UI tends to be slightly less colorful, so if you compare it with Lovable, you might see that immediate difference. However, when it comes to functionality, I find Vercel's V0 much more functionally better than Lovable. One feature that I would like to highlight for V0 is importing from Figma. When I tried it for the first time, it was very smooth and a flawless process. So import from Figma is a nice feature in V0. Now because V0 is made by Vercel, there are multiple features that you may be interested in after the app is published, especially when it comes to deployments and hosting. V0 is also free to use, but they have some limits. You get a $5 usage credits per month. Now in my experience, when I was building some apps for my personal use case, I rarely hit that limit. But if you're trying to build a bigger app or a, let's say, more complicated app, it is going to be difficult in the free plan, so you may want to upgrade for that. If you're just a beginner and trying to learn all these tools, then Vercel's V0 is still fine. You will not hit those limits in the initial days. In V0, you can share the app by simply sharing the project link that you have. You can also publish the apps if you like. Number 3 is Base44. Now Base44 is also another AI tool where you simply enter a prompt and get an app. Now I did the exact same thing with Base44. I took the same prompt that I used for Vercel and Lovable, and I wanted to compare the output that Base44 gave me. So here's my prompt on the left hand side. This is create an internal dashboard for my e-commerce website, and I've got the same features that I had listed earlier, and this is the output that you see on the right hand side. In the output, you will notice that they have got a navigation on the left hand side, and you get a beautiful looking dashboard. The difference between Base44's output and the other two outputs that I just showed you in Lovable and Vercel is that it seems to be quite full-fledged. So in the first output itself, you get all the functionalities that you would require in order to have an admin dashboard like this. With the other tools, I found that I had to prompt a lot more in the follow-up prompts in order to get to the desired output. Similar to other tools, in Base44, you can share the apps. Also, you can publish them. Base44 does have a free plan, and they have a limit of 25 messages per month. Now, this kind of limit may be suitable only if you are learning to use these apps or just experimenting with it. If you want to build a serious app or a serious business out of this, then you may want to go for the paid plan. Number 4 on the list is Replit. Now, in Replit also, you can enter a prompt and get an output in form of an app. As you can see on the screen, there is a left hand side panel where you enter the prompt. I have entered the same prompt for order management dashboard, and based on this prompt, Replit did some work on it, and on the right hand side you can see the output. Now, one thing I have to mention about Replit, it seems like the entire product is geared towards developers. The UI and the feel of it all seems like you need to be a developer in order to understand this product or use this product. I'm a product manager, and when I landed on this UI for the first time on their homepage, I understood that based on their design choices, it does not seem to be geared towards non-coders or non-programmers. So if you occasionally get confused with the Replit's UI, then that's understandable. Having said that, to get to the output, you have pretty much the same steps. Similar to other tools, you can also share this project as well as deploy it. Replit also has a free plan, and you can create 10 public apps. Now, Replit's pricing is slightly different from the other platforms. Other platforms tend towards usage-based pricing, so either you have $5 limit or you have 25 messages per month limit. Number 5 on the list is Bolt. Now, Bolt is also an AI-based tool where you enter the prompt and get an app. So let's see an example of order management dashboard similar to the other tools and see how their output looks like. As you can see on the left-hand side, I have entered the prompt, and on the right-hand side, I get to see the output. Now, when it comes to the output, I notice that Bolt's output is very different from the other 4 that I just mentioned. It is less full-fledged and it requires a little bit of follow-up. And apart from that, the output is still fine, but you still need a lot of iterations in order to fix this or get to the first output, which is amazing. Just like the other apps, you can share and publish this app. Bolt also has free plan, and in their free plan, they have limits on the tokens used. It sounds much more technical pricing than I have seen with all the other apps. I expected something like 10 free apps or let's say 25 messages. From a user's perspective, it does not really make a lot of sense because I'm not sure how many tokens I'll be using for one prompt and if I have to use multiple prompts. If you have used any of these apps already, let me know what is your favorite choice in the comments. Also, if you would like to learn something more about the specific apps, let me know and I can make a follow-up video on that. By the way, this space is constantly evolving, so I talk about these new products on my LinkedIn and Twitter, so you can follow me there. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching.